So, my last devotional was on Is Joy Evident in Your Life? But I want to talk about the times when it seems kind of hard to let that joy be evident because you're going through a lot in your life. You've got a lot of things that are weighing on you. You've got a lot of things that maybe you're thinking about, that you're concerned about. And so I wanted to share a scripture with you today that's been very helpful to me, and something that is a scripture that is part of my prayer life, and it is found in Psalm 94:19. It says, "When anxiety was great within me, your consolation brought me joy." And there are so many scriptures about being anxious about things and not being anxious about things, and how to respond when you're filled with anxiety about certain things, certain situations, what's going on in your life. And I think about how prayer is so valuable in that. I think about the scripture that says, "Cast all your anxiety on him," out of First Peter, that says, "Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you." And oftentimes I do that. Oftentimes I've told people through before, there was a song that we used to sing, "I cast all my cares upon you, I lay all my burdens down at your feet." And I used to literally, when I was feeling anxious, I would sing that song, and I feel like God would help me in those moments. But when anxiety is great within me, your consolation has brought me joy. Talking about God, and God is able, even in those anxious moments of life, even in those times of life when things are difficult, and it's not just anxiousness, maybe there's death, there's things that have brought us down, and God is still able to bring about joy even in the sorrow. I mentioned earlier this week, though sorrow may last for the night, joy comes in the morning, and God will still bring about joy even in the midst of difficult situations. But sometimes when you're feeling anxious and it's hard to let that joy be evident, I'm thankful that through prayer, through singing, through listening to songs, and then I even think about one time on a Sunday morning when I was really down. I had just had a meeting where someone had just ripped into me before Sunday morning service. This was years and years ago, but I remember one of my daughters coming up and standing beside me in the service, uh, and just being up there with me. And it was like the fulfillment of that scripture, "Your consolation brings me joy." God sent her right in that moment to be what I needed in that moment. And so this is my confidence. When anxiety was great within me, your consolation brought me joy. And God is able to do that even in the midst of our anxious moments. And that's great news to hear. That's a great promise to know. He can restore our joy in the midst of sorrow. He can restore our joy in the midst of anxiety. Your consolation brings me joy.